Hello. Okay, so I decided to start this video right now just because Mocha is in the background and it's really cute. So I'm still kind of getting ready a little bit, but yeah. I hope the lighting isn't too too bright. It might be. I'm actually in a different part of the house right now. Oh, no, look at the monkeys. Look at the monkeys. You want this? Oh. Want it? Yes, take it. Okay, so I'm just kind of setting up right now. Let me see how it looks from over here. Still pretty overexposed. I wonder if it has to do how bright I already am on my laptop. I don't know. I feel like if I turn the other way it would be too dark, but let's try it out. Squeezy monkeys. Yeah, like it's too dark that way. Although I guess it's a little bit better. I don't know. Should I be overexposed? I'd be like a little bit dark. I don't know. These are the questions. Look at the monkeys. Look at the monkeys. Like the monkey chews. The monkey does chew. Come say hi. Look. Look who's that? Who's that puppy? Who's that puppy? Oh, you're the puppy. Okay. I think I'm gonna try to film from this angle just because I feel like it's not super. If there's knots in my hair, which I feel like there might be, let's just ignore them and pretend they're not there. But yeah, I feel like it might be a little bit better-ish from this way, personally, but I don't really know either, so. But I feel like it's a little bit better. The background's not as distracting and stuff, too, although I don't think there was much in the background the other way, but okay, whatever. Okay, so I have my notes. I have my phone, as per usual, just in the background. I actually, where did it go? Oh, there's my pen. Pen. I actually have you up. There's a table right here. I have my cloth because I need to clean my glasses real quick. This is actually a new top. It is a new shirt. Oh, my glasses are dirty. Let me fix that. But, my dad is currently food shopping, so I decided to film this video so it's quiet and I don't have any other distractions going on other than Mocha chewing. That's our background noise for today. But it's currently March 14th, Pi Day. Happy Pi Day. 2019. So I actually had this video idea yesterday and I actually like mentally prepared myself for it yesterday, but I didn't actually write down the notes for it until today. So hopefully I have everything that I want to say like ready to go. Let me, oops, don't want to do that. A little bit. Yeah, we'll work with that. Okay, so ignore the giant light spot right there. Okay, so I think it's been like already, yeah, it's been like 5 minutes, so almost. Sorry, itchy. Okay, so, hi, hello, it's me, the usual. I have my intro anyway already to the videos and stuff, so you know who. Well, you don't know who I am, I guess, unless you read my about page, but you know the channel. Yeah. So today, I don't know what I'm actually going to title this video, but for now, I have set it on my little note card that it's about my recovery and self-esteem. So I want to kind of talk today, as I tend to do naturally every day, but Um, I'd like to talk about what my channel is and where it's going, and how that's different than how when I started my channel, and where I'm at with it now, and what I want to do in the future, and like also all the videos I have filmed from like last year and like the year before that I never actually edited and uploaded, so there's like that. I'm gonna try to work on that sooner because I actually have some editing vibes today, so I might actually work on that. I do have a NAMI presentation later on, so I have to go out. Me and David are you don't know David, but we've filmed like 3 collabs together, and like he's a good friend of mine and everything, and so we're gonna go up to MCPHS because I have a presentation there for NAMI, and that's gonna be interesting because it was actually from like women's group day program that I go, Passages, which isn't the real name of it, but we had talked about like in women's group like safety and like things like that, and like being a woman and like, you know, being aware of one's surroundings and everything. So I kind of got a little paranoid after that, and I was like, oh my goodness, I'm gonna be up in Boston at like 7, 8 o'clock at night. I should bring a friend, and I like texted David, and he was like, yeah, I'll totally come, so that's pretty cool. So I have that later today, which I probably will have to leave because I have to go to, it's up in Boston, so I have to go to Braintree first and meet him there, and then take the trains in and everything, and we're gonna meet up at like 3:30, so at the most I would say 2:30 I have to leave for my house. So there's that. So I only have a few hours to edit. It's like, I guess it's like 11 now, right? Yeah, it's 11 o'clock in the morning, so I have to kind of do that and everything, so that's what I'm doing later. That's an aside, but okay. Where do we begin, right? I'll start with the self-esteem portion, so because that's kind of the easiest in a way to do. I think my main point with the video stuff was that I have a lot of ideas and I have a lot of things I want to do, and that my channel has changed since when I started it, which was back in December 2016. And it's currently like March 2019, so it's changed. So self-esteem. I have pretty good self-esteem. I was actually thinking about this yesterday during dinner, and which is partially when I was like going over talking to myself about what I wanted to say in this video. So I have pretty good self-esteem, and I've even talked about this with David before too. I think I have to have good self-esteem in order to be able to do NAMI presentations, like, because I inherently have to believe that my story matters and that my life matters and that there is meaning for my life and purpose for it. And just by sharing my story and my recovery experiences, that's a way of, I guess, just being myself. And like, I guess the main thing that came out of it is the fact that I don't tend to think about what other people think of me. Like, I don't worry about that. I guess I don't really care. It's kind of like I don't care, and like, it's just not something that I think about. It's not something that I've ever really thought about. I guess maybe when I was younger, when I was in my teens. She's going after her tail. Like, legit, she's just eating her tail. What are you doing, Mokins? Ouch! Chewing on me! Chewing on me. Give me lickies. Give me the lickies. Oh, I like the lickies. I like the lickies. Thank you. You're a good pup. Yeah, she's a good pup. Oh, you gonna lick me? No, she's gonna smell me. She's gonna smell me, huh? Yeah. Sorry, doggo distractions. Yeah, in my teen years, I probably thought about it a little bit more. But nowadays, I really don't. Like, ever, because I started to have mental health problems when I was 21. It started a little bit when I was 19, like the symptoms of it, but it didn't really blow up until I was 21. And I was in like fall-ish, it was 2014. So and I had actually seen my first inner own voice presentation that NAMI does that semester, and I think it really did change a lot for me, because I think it opened up the idea that there was hope and there was help available and that I could get better. And that was something that always stuck with me. And I even sat in like the next semester when the same professor was teaching the class, which was like an abnormal psych class. I sat in on it, and I kind of, you know, got another round of like what the presentation was about and like the people's stories that they were, you know, discussing. And that was really cool. And I think that actually really did a lot for me. I think I have to believe that I matter, and that I can use my story to help inspire other people, and that if I didn't believe in that I probably wouldn't be saying my story and going and doing talks and like doing things like that. Like, I think I inherently have to believe that it does matter and that, you know, it's important. And so that's where my self-esteem kind of goes. And like, for me personally too, like, I didn't, until I got trained for, she has something in her mouth. Before I got trained for the peer-to-peer mentor recovery class that they also offer, somebody had mentioned, like, because we were all like people who had done inner own voice stuff, and we were up in the main building in Boston doing the training, and it was like a weekend kind of thing. It was like, I think it's like 8 to 5 is like the Saturday, Sunday kind of, you know, length of training. It was kind of like that up. And I went to Hyannis when I had to do the inner own voice training for that too. Training to be trained for doing presentations, which we have to get retrained too, but I haven't really heard much else about that. But besides the point, and I guess too, maybe I should clarify, inner own voice is like sharing our individual lived experiences with mental health conditions. In the original format was 5 sections, so there's the intro, and then where you don't really talk about specific like your story yet, you kind of just do like a who am I and like about you kind of thing. And then there's dark days, acceptance, treatment, coping skills, and successes, hopes, and dreams. That was the original format. They've since updated it, and there was like a video that went with it, and like it's like you and a co-presenter, so there's 2 people, and then you talk about your story, the other person goes, tells their story. You know, technically with the video, you'd show the video first, tell your story, and then like open it up to questions. Because they've been we've gotten like the retraining for it, there's actually a new video which also deals less with medications and other treatment options. We're not allowed to give advice. We're supposed to use I statements, which is something that you probably have heard of on my own channel to begin with. In other videos and such of mine, I, you know, try to model that as well. We're not allowed to give specifics on medications, explicit details of self-harm and suicide, or substance use. Not allowed to name specific hospitals, which is also something that I do, from getting trained for that, I don't talk about specific medications. I can talk about classes of medications, but I can't mention like specific ones. We're also not allowed to give advice. We can only talk about our lived experiences. So it's that whole thing. It's essentially what inner own voice is, and the re-edited format is supposed to be like what happened, what helped, and what's next. So it's like it changed from more of the medical model to like a more here's sort of what happened. And the intro was like I probably should have brought a drink. Didn't think of that. The intro is like 1.5 minutes, and then the other sections of the original, like, first version of it, is like 3 minutes, so you only have like 3 minutes to tell your story. So, and it's like that and everything. So, that's just a little bit about that, in case you didn't know anything about it and you didn't know what the hell I was talking about. So, that's that whole side note. So, and I don't know like the specific numbers of how long it takes and stuff for the new system, because I haven't been retrained for it yet. Oh, but it was in the peer-to-peer mentor training class that Somebody had mentioned, like, feeling, like, being aware of feeling judged when walking into a presentation, and, like, how, you know, the audience does make often silent judgments about, like, who you are, like, what you might talk about, and, like, things to that effect. And for me, when I heard that, I was really surprised, because I was like, holy shit, people are making judgments about me? Like, I didn't even think about that at all. Like, I just waltzed into my presentation, did my presentation, and then, you know, and it was just really interesting and eye-opening, because I feel that that's a good representation of who I am as a person, and, like, how I don't think about other people judging me. Like, I really believe in that, like, reframe cognitive distortion. It goes like, I guess there's two versions of it. It's like, not everyone's going to approve of me, and that's okay. And additionally, not everyone's going to like me, and that's okay. Like, I guess it's like, I might actually talk a little bit more about this, because I might be doing a collab with someone on YouTube, so I might talk about that more there. But that's kind of like, that's where I'm personally at in my own journey, is I really don't think about how other people perceive me. I also don't really, which I might want to try to change, I'm also not really very aware of my environment, which could be dangerous for safety issues and such. Do you have to go out? Do you have to go out? I think she might have to go out, so I'm going to go take her out real quick. So I'm going to go do that. I'm going to just let it play, and then I will... Sorry, she's really crying. Okay, hold on. I'm just going to let it play, and then I'll come back to it. Or maybe I should just stop it and then do a new file. I might just do that, actually. That might be a little bit better. Okay, so it's going to be like it's going to be a jump cut. But yeah, so I'll be back in like 5 minutes, which you won't realize because it'll be like a few seconds right now. But yeah, okay. Hello, again. Okay. That took about 10 minutes, and then Mocha went in like some dirt after we still have some snow left, and she went in some dirt, and then she dragged her little muddy footprints all over the flooring, so I had to go and clean it up. But okay, she didn't do anything. She did absolutely nothing. She just strolled along, tried to chase a bird, do all these things, play in the snow. It was doggos, you know. I guess she had some, like, breadcrumbs or something, because I just stuck my hand in some breadcrumbs, but okay. Back to this video. So, I left off talking about how I didn't think about how other people likely judge me based on my first appearance and before I really tend to say anything. So that was something that I mentioned that I didn't think of until somebody else said it, and I was like, oh, I never thought of that. So I think inherently, for me to tell my story and for me to go, hi. Hi. Don't poke me in the eye. Oh, you made my glasses wet. Now I have to clean them. My glasses wet. You have a wet nose. Yeah, that was great. That was just Mocha being Mocha. Yeah, enough about you. Okay. So, it's not like I don't judge other people too, like I totally do. I'm more of like a silent judger, like I don't tend to say it. What are you eating? Yeah, and I think that has to go along with, if I didn't believe that my story mattered and that telling my story mattered, then I don't think I would tell it, really. Like, I don't think that would be something that I would do, just because I guess it wouldn't be like, well, nothing matters and all that kind of stuff. But, and it's not like, it's also not like, since I've been doing NAMI presentations, it's not like I never, like, had struggles in that, or I didn't have dark days. Like, I totally did. So, it's also like interesting, like when I was struggling more, that I didn't do as many presentations because it didn't feel like I could adequately, you know, talk about my story and have it be as positive as I wanted it to be when it wasn't at that time. But I think that also just kind of adds layers to it. Like, mental health conditions are kind of things that, what are you eating? Mental health conditions are things that will come and go in some aspects, and like symptoms maybe flare up or have like more struggling points at one time than another time, like seasonal affective disorder, that kind of thing. So it's kind of one of those, recovery is not linear. It's not like this upward trajectory that like never stops. It's up and then down and then up and then up and then up and down and a plateau and like all that kind of jazz. So I think probably having a more realistic like perspective on it is good. I will say that my own recovery, I was definitely unstable. Like, that was my baseline, was being unstable. And in the last year, when I started going to passages and I learned a lot of DBT skills and I used the skills like every day without me realizing it, that has made it so that my baseline now is stability. I'm not often symptomatic. I can be. Things can trigger it. And then at the same time, I also have a higher pain tolerance. So something like spilling my coffee, which actually happened in a video, like that I filmed a couple months ago. Like, I spilled my coffee, and like a year ago, when I was like unstable, like I would have been like, oh my god, like I obviously can't do anything right, and I might as well kill myself because, you know, whatever, I can't handle life or whatever. But now if I spill my coffee, I'm like, shit, fuck, that sucks. And then I'm like, well, I gotta clean it up, and I go to problem solving, and I go to other things. And it's not like, if I spill my coffee every day for like a week, that could, you know, that could accumulate triggers for me. So that might be like, at one point I might, after spilling it for like 2 weeks straight, I might be like, okay, you know, what's wrong with me, or like, what am I doing wrong, or like things like that. And there might be judgments and stuff like that to that effect, but because I don't spill my coffee every day, it's not something that really puts me over the edge, in a sense. It doesn't trigger me so badly that I'm unstable and doing unhealthy behaviors for a while. So I guess tolerance is a huge thing in recovery that, for me at least, it's been something that what would have bothered me 2 years ago wouldn't necessarily bother me today. Or it wouldn't take more to bother me today than it was if it was something minor 2 years ago. So that's kind of like my aside, my additional aside. I think the first clip of this was about 17 minutes long. So this is probably going to be like a 30-minute video, to be honest. But hopefully it's interesting. And I guess the other thing I kind of want to mention along the terms of that is a little bit talk about now, because I'm already on the topic. I could talk a little bit about how, like, where my channel is and such. And in the last 4 months, I would say, I've been thinking about being more open again about recovery and my experiences with it. And I can only talk about my own experiences because I'm an expert in those experiences, and I can't give advice, kind of like with NAMI. I can't give advice. I can just say what's helped me, and, you know, maybe have that offer perspective. Actually, I can swivel back to a point I was trying to make earlier. That, along time that I got involved with NAMI, I also got involved with my university's newspaper, Mass Media, which I wrote articles for pretty consistently for a few years, and I largely just talked about my own lived experiences with mental health conditions, self-harm, suicidality, and a little bit of trichotillomania, but not a huge lot. But that was also something, so advocacy for me is a huge part of my recovery. Being open and honest are really good values that I aspire to be, and like I take seriously in my recovery. And I can also say too is like I aspire to be that kind of person that if someone's having a bad day, I can just give them like a random little piece of art or like card or something, and hopefully it would make their day a little bit better. Like that's who I've wanted to be for the duration of my college years. And I'd say so far I've actually been able to accomplish that, and I've been able to achieve that and really live in that sort of almost ideal. So that's really cool, and that's also a lot of what I want my channel to be about. I focused before on I have that video, symptoms of harm OCD. I hate that video. Like, I don't like that video because I'm pretty sure, I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I filmed that at like the end of 2017, and when I did that, I actually accidentally re-triggered myself, or maybe purposely, I don't know, but I accidentally re-triggered myself, and that, I think, started off my darkest days in my recovery journey, and understandably, I don't like that video because of how out of control things got from it. And I made a couple other videos, and I think it was last year that, like, 4 months after I made, like, a suicidality video, somebody on YouTube also came across the video. Hey, cut it out. They came across the video, and she's like scratching the couch. But they came across the video, and they thought that I was like actively suicidal, which I wasn't. And it was like kind of like, I understand, yet that was also 4 months ago, so if I had been actively suicidal, I already would have completed suicide by that point. But they took it as like me being actively suicidal, and then they called like a local authority and wanted to do a wellness check on me, and that like freaked me the fuck out, because I was like, oh shit, cops are gonna show up at my house and like all this stuff is gonna happen, and I'm like, oh my god. So I actually called my local police department on the non-emergency line, and I like told them, hey, like this guy, he made a video about it, and he like, you know, because he showed how there were cops outside his house and everything, and I was like, oh my god, hey, I'm okay, like nothing's happening, I don't know, you know, it was just a misunderstanding kind of thing. And they actually did send out like a cop to my house to kind of just make sure, which was like legitimately like a 20-second conversation. It wasn't that long at all. And everything was fine, but I had like freaked out a bunch, and my parents at the time weren't home, so I was like freaking out about that, and I was like paranoid, and it was all these kind of things, and I was like, oh my god, when do they show up, like tomorrow, like when can they show up, like I don't know. It was a whole thing. So I think she's chasing her tail. But I think that because of that, I think I got more cautious about what I put out online. And something that when I started my channel, even, because I know 2017 I got hospitalized like 5 times, so that was like a lot. Because I think before that it was only like 3 times, and even after that it was only like 2 or 3 times. So 2017 was a hard year for me, and I, like, it's tricky, because I don't tend to think when I put stuff out online, I don't tend to think about how it's going to be there forever, and other people can find it, and like all this kind of stuff. Like, I don't think about that. I probably should, but I don't. And like, my blog on WordPress and Twitter are the places, and my DeviantArt are places that I have in the past I use the internet as an inappropriate place to confess suicidality, and I definitely have some like old tweets, old blog posts that are very triggering. I haven't actually looked back on them because of the fact that I know that I put them out there, and I don't want to be re-triggered, and there's a whole thing. But if you really wanted to dig in deep and find it, you probably can. I wouldn't recommend it. Some of them might have trigger warnings on it, so that's a little bit okay, you know, but a lot of it is pretty explicit, and it's not what I would do today, in a sense. And I also find that inappropriate and appropriate people and places was a huge part of my recovery recently. 1 second. The joy of forgetting what I was saying while making a video. yeah, so appropriate people and places was a big part of my recovery, learning that I felt at the time that it was censorship. Now that I look on it, I don't think it is so much. I think it's knowing the audience, like who are you talking to, or is it specific to one person, is it public, because if you make things online it is public oftentimes. um, I think the internet, to me, isn't an appropriate place to say, hey, I'm struggling. Like, I have in the past, and I probably still will in the future. The reason it's not an appropriate place, from my perspective, is because somebody could, like, if I tend to get a response, I don't tend to get a response, like, 30 seconds after I, like, sent the tweet or, like, wrote the message or whatever. It's usually, like, a 4-hour delay. And 4 hours at that point, if I was, you know, I don't want to say seriously, but if I was really in a bad crisis, I could be dead by that point. So it's really not, because, and people could be doing, who knows, like maybe they're just offline, maybe they're taking a shit, maybe they're not on their phone. Like, and even the same thing goes with text messages. Like, I might, if I don't, like, for me, whenever I've reached out to people like that, like in that kind of state, in like a suicidal self-harm kind of state, like I've been, if you don't respond in 30 seconds, that's proof that nobody cares about me and I don't matter and I should just kill myself. Like, that was the dialogue that I had, and it's not true, like, at all, but it feels like it is in that moment. And so it's not like an appropriate place, because instead of that, I could call a hotline, I could text a hotline, I could, you know, do a chat thing, I could do other things that are more, you know, and there still might be a little bit of a wait time, but it's not as, like, dire in a sense. Like, I just, because a lot of people don't know what to do or what to say, and they're afraid of saying the wrong thing, or sometimes they're not afraid of saying the wrong thing because they're ignorant and they don't know, and sometimes they actually want to learn, sometimes they don't. And it's just really tricky because we don't know what kind of response we might get, and we might get the wrong response, and that might continue to trigger or spiral us, and there's a whole thing. So it's really hard, and I ultimately think that the internet is not the best place for that, unless you're able to wait. Like, if I sent out a tweet like 2 hours before I really spiral down, then maybe that's okay, because maybe I can wait 4 hours. But for me, I usually use it as, like, I'm sending out this message, hey, I need some help, use a couple hashtags, whatever, and then I'm like, okay, I didn't really get a response right away, so what am I going to do next? Like, that was my first step. What are the second, third, fourth, sixth step, you know, that kind of thing. So I guess it's like, it's dependent on how you use it and what expectations you have. Like, how are you going to handle it? If it goes well, if it doesn't go well, if somebody makes a crude remark, like, you know, how are you going to handle that, and how will you react to it, and how to be safe about reacting to it, and all of that. So that was my little spiel about that. But ultimately what I want to get to as well is that I think because I made some like suicidality kind of talking videos, I think that kind of opened up that door to sort of like other people getting really concerned about me from being far away, and maybe misinterpreting something, and then maybe calling like a wellness check on me and such. Which I think if somebody called, like, when I had that experience with that person, I was like, I'm really honored, like, I'm really touched. It's misplaced, and I really appreciate, like, I do appreciate that you were very concerned, and like I tried to validate, and then, you know, somebody thought I was unsafe or concerned, and, you know, that's nice, because not everybody will do that. Not everybody will know to do that, you know, so that's that. But the point I want to make is that I think I closed off a little bit after that happened, and I think I took some time to kind of think about a little bit more about what I'm putting out there, and I think what I want to do further with my channel is I want to focus more on pro recovery and I want to focus less on mental health, because I find the term mental health to be, and I've mentioned this in other videos too, but I find the term mental health, I view it as darkness and light, and I feel recovery is more light, like predominantly more light. There is still darkness, and it's more about focusing on how to react and prepare and cope and in a healthy manner. I guess I find mental health to be more unhealthy than healthy, and recovery to be more healthy than unhealthy. I guess that's how I sort of juxtapose it in my head. And in terms of that, I want to actually open up in more of a recovery-based orientation. I want to do more positive kind of things, like giveaway kind of things, like little messages, cards, projects of mine. I actually want to do a few, because I've only been filming actually for the end of 2016 when I made a channel, so I'm really, really new to it, but I've been inspired by some opportunities that I've had, so I want to do some like videos of like libraries and like just sort of like scan through the books, like things like that, and like art videos, like time-lapse kind of stuff, ink on skin. I want to do kind of more hauls, like clothing, stationery especially, although I don't buy as much stationery these days. Collabs with other content creators, as well as my friends, if they're okay with being on camera. David's okay with being on camera. I also want to do like some ventures outside, like some travel kind of stuff, and like I have a bunch of old videos I can do from that as well. Some kind of like music oriented stuff. I also really want to do like lessons learned lectures, which is the L3 thing, which I have a playlist for, but I haven't really like done much with it. And that is also where I want to be more open about my recovery. I want to be more open about what I've been told and what I've learned, and open up to like letting other people in to know that. Sorry. So I ultimately want to just be more open about my own recovery, and you know, I take notes during family therapy, and I would like to actually output videos about that and just kind of share where I'm at and do more support stands, which are essentially about modeling situations and how to like cope with them and in a healthy manner and everything. So I want to go more towards the healthy point. I still have articles I want to read out, because again, 2017 was a hard year for me, so I didn't really read a lot of my articles out on my channel. So I'd actually like to do that. I would like to probably talk more about my fanfiction stuff and like creative things. And I actually had, last year I filmed in the summer, I filmed the origin stories, and I was going to do each art modality that I do. I still have that. I could edit and everything, and I just want to really, I guess, have a place where positivity, recovery, like, so many things, art and music just really come together and really broadcast that out. Like, that is so much of what my recovery is, so much of what my mission is. The other thing I was going to say, I just thought of something, and I forgot it. Whoops. And books and film reviews and things like that. Like, I really want to do that as well, because I do that on my blog too. There's just a lot that I want to do, and I'm really excited because I think it'll be a very interesting perspective. And I also actually want to go back and rewatch some of my old videos, which I honestly, once I put them up online, I don't go back to reread or rewatch. So I think it would be interesting, especially with my articles. I actually want to add commentary to it when I'm reading it out, so there's going to be that, and it'll make it a little bit longer. And oh yeah, this will also help with, it'll also help with like, I have a bit of a YouTube addiction. I probably have a little bit more of an internet addiction as a whole. But particularly YouTube, I go on deep dives. I call them deep dives. Like, I kind of separate WordPress, DeviantArt, Archive of Our Own, fanfiction.net, Twitter. I separate that internet consumption different than YouTube consumption, because YouTube, my famous last words are always, I'll just watch one video, and then it's like 4 hours later, and then I feel really shitty because I've gone on a deep dive, like I've gone looking about Hiroshima and like 9/11, and I'm like, how do I branch back in my life? And it's like, what do I do? Like, it's, you know, it's a thing. Or like watch like episodes of like, so what is it? Murderous Women, Deadly Women, yeah, that kind of thing. Just go off on that, worry about people murdering me in my sleep and everything. It's like, it's a whole thing. And actually, if I took out time from doing YouTube addiction stuff to creating my own content and like editing my content and then putting out my content, that's a little bit different. So I could, which is probably some of the reason why I don't edit as much as I maybe need to. Oh, it's 12. So I have to just dismiss my alarm thing. Well, it's not an alarm, it's a notification. I also got a bunch of Twitter notifications the other day, which was very odd. I'm not used to having a lot of notifications on Twitter, and it was only like that for a couple hours, but it was a little overwhelming. I was like, people stop following me, like I'm having too many messages of people following me. I don't like it. So it was really interesting. I think there was something else I wanted to say, but I don't remember what it was. I don't know. I wanted to say, like, I think I covered a lot of what I wanted to say, except for that one thing that I can't remember what I wanted to say. Yeah, I just have to try to edit videos more and upload them accordingly. But yeah, I'd like to do collabs with people, so if you know any people who want to do a collab or anything like that, that'd be cool. I want to be able to do some old journal entries and such. Like, I do, I guess maybe share what I do in a day in a way or something like that. That might be pretty cool. I have some, like, old vlogs and stuff, and I want to try to get back to my roots while also going differently than where I was before. And again, all this kind of stuff will be, like, predominantly instruction and, like, advice from professionals that I got for my own story, for my own stuff, that I'm just sharing with other people in case maybe, because I think a lot of it can be generalizable. Some of it might not be. So take it with a grain of salt. Like what, it's one of those things, like if you have your own provider who's telling you something differently, like, don't listen to me, go listen to them. As long as you value their opinion. If you don't value their opinion, you might want to try to find someone else who fits better with you, so then, you know. But advocacy, huge part of my stuff. Music, huge part of my stuff. Art, huge part of my stuff. And I think I'd like to share more of that and, you know, really explore. I have to work a bit. I was a really good shameless self-promoter when I was earlier on in my recovery, back in like 2016, and I kind of fell out of that a bit, so I think I need to promote myself more again. That might be helpful. I'd like to talk about my creative writing and art projects and all that kind of stuff. So I honestly don't remember what my last point was that I wanted to make, but maybe if I remember when I'm editing, I can put it in. It's gonna bother me that I can't remember what it was. But ultimately, yeah, that's pretty much it. This video was slightly inspired by somebody at my program who I haven't come up with a name for yet, and they said that I was pretty confident and pretty chill. They said mad chill, which is pretty cool. I definitely agree with that. I think there was one time when I was doing a presentation in a hospital setting, and my co-presenter was a little bit more anxious, and some people were being a little bit disruptive, like in the audience, and they were having a hard time with that, and like for me, I was just sitting there and I'm like, I don't give a fuck, like I'm like, I don't give a shit, like it's all cool, you know, it's like, yeah, it's chill. I was just really chill, like I wasn't like freaking out about it. I was just like, yeah, it happens, you know, radical acceptance. I'd also probably want to talk a little bit more about I could probably talk about DBT Club and like which is something from Twitter, and DBT in general and things to that effect. And I could even do like a video-ish about how I present my inner own voice stuff and things to that effect too. I didn't think about that. But yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go because this is like half an hour long and I need to eventually edit it all together, and that's gonna be kind of a pain in the ass. So so I'm gonna go. It's been cool, it's been fun. I definitely have a lot of ideas, things I want to do, and hopefully you'll enjoy it. And I'm still very small, so I don't really get a lot of comments. It honestly tends to bother me when people are off topic. But I like it. It's like off topic in the sense of like video wasn't watched like at all. Bothers me, but it might just be me. It might not, but I don't know. Like I mean, like it's one of those things. Like if like I don't mind if somebody like saw that pillow over there and was like, "That's a weird pillow. I've been staring at it the whole time." Like that, I don't care about. Like I also don't care if like people make jokes, because that happens too. Like, I don't know. If you don't watch my content at all, I don't know what the point in commenting is. Doesn't make sense to me, but maybe it's just me. So yeah, I'm gonna go. My outro, I don't even tend to tell people to subscribe and stuff. I find that a little bit I guess slightly annoying when I watch other videos. It's like, you know it's there. If you really wanted to, you can click it. Like, I don't have to tell you to do it. But that might just be me. Maybe I'm a little old school. I've been watching YouTube for a long time. Didn't have a channel for a while, but I've been watching it for a very long time. But my outro, stay safe, take care, be well, much love and light to you, and I will see you in the next video, whenever that happens to be, which will probably be a month from now, so just saying. I might be able to edit today, though, so that'll be really awesome. I'm probably gonna go let Milka upstairs, too, because I don't even know where she went. I think she's laying down over there. Let me find her, actually. Oh, my legs. Milka, where'd you go? Oh, there she is. Yeah. And my dad just got back home, so I gotta go. Okay. Bye.